What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Into the Square Circle podcast. That's right, folks. I'm your host, GBs, and welcome. And on this episode, it's going to be all elite wrestling style episode because tomorrow, that's right, March the 3rd, AEW presents Revolution going down live on pay-per-view. The final match of the icon, the legend, woo! Showtime! Sting's final match. That's right, Steve Borden. Some people may know, but Sting is having his final match in the main event tomorrow night on pay-per-view. But here on the show, we will have my previews and my predictions for AEW Revolution, which is going down on pay-per-view tomorrow. All right, good deal. Also on the show, we'll talk about other news in the world of pro wrestling. And the sad news is we lost a couple legends in the world of pro wrestling. We'll talk about that, kick it off the show as well, and so much more. But before I continue on here, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe and hit the like. If you're listening on podcasting land, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you want to hear this in audio form? Very simple. All you have to do is type into the Square Circle podcast, all major podcasting outlets. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram. Join the conversation, man. What's going on in the world of pro wrestling, right? Good deal. And follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/into the Square Circle podcast. $1.99 a month. That's right, folks. $1.99 a month. You are in an executive control seat, my friend. You take control. Whatever you want, talk about whatever you want, whenever you want. You are in control in the bonus content. $1.99. By the way, your name will be featured on the credit right here on YouTube, and your name will be featured at the very end of the podcast. Not a lot of wrestling podcasts will give you that option. $1.99 a month. That's it. You get all of that. So all you have to do is go on to patreon.com/into the Square Circle podcast. The link is down below in the description on podcast and YouTube. And yeah, man, to have a party, baby. Oh, I got a guitar on this time. Yeah, why not, right? Why the hell not, right? All right, welcome back, folks. And if you're watching on YouTube, I have a whole different style, right? I got a brand spanking multi-million-dollar studio got built right here at Warner Brothers Discovery. No, I'm just bullshitting with you. This is just something different, right? Always change it up, right? And again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. I feel like a damn comic stand-up artist. Comic, not the comment like you fly in space. Oh, fuck, whatever. All right, let's continue on here. So we got a lot of stuff in the world of pro wrestling we got to talk about here, and let's talk about some sad news, right? Legends. We lost some incredible legends the past couple of days. 3 of them so far. Let's start with this one. Ole Anderson. Ole Anderson, one of the greats, right? Born from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and fans, come on. If you're a hardcore wrestling fans that follow the history of old school wrestling, everyone knows Ole, right? Everyone, the 4 horsemen. Come on. 4 horsemen, the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers. It's mandatory to know these wrestlers. If you're a casual wrestling fan, it's mandatory. You have to know it. It's like you have to know, and you don't have to, but all the presidents of the United States, right? All 50 states. You got to know in history class. You got to know history in pro wrestling, right? He does the basic fundamentals when it comes to those just iconic legends. But Ole Anderson, right? Ole Anderson passed away February 26th of this week, at the age of 81 in Monroe, Georgia. Monroe, Georgia. That's the place where he passed away. Just talk about an iconic superstar in wrestling history, right? Was trained by Dick the Bruiser. Dick the Bruiser, talking about a man's man when it comes to old school wrestling. Dick the Bruiser, old school. And by the way, I got a pretty awesome NWA photo book from a family member that gave to me. It was from like between 1983 and 1982. And I was going through like a very young Dustin Rhodes, a very young Harley Race, Dick the Bruiser is featuring on there. It's pretty cool, man. It's vintage. And I will cherish that book forever. Maybe I'll show it to you guys down the future. Okay. So let's get back to this. Ole Anderson, got trained by Dick the Bruiser and Vern Gagne. Now, if you know the history of Vern Gagne, the promoter of AWA here in the Midwest, right? Chicago was very notorious for AWA. And no, thank you, Sports Center. I'm not going to read your notification here, but you know what? AWA, you know, it was notorious for some huge wrestlers in the past, right? But Ole Anderson was in the AWA from 1967 to 1968 during his early days of the career. Now, that's where he hopped on over to the Jim Crockett Promotions, right? Jim Crockett in the Carolinas, the legendary Carolinas, you know, where Ric Flair, woo! You know, the Greensboro Coliseum, which will be going down this coming Sunday for the Sting's final match. But that building is iconic, right? So many classic matches. Memorable moments. I mean, it's the hollow halls, the hollow arena of pro wrestling. So that's the Greensboro Coliseum is the pinnacle of arena when it comes to pro wrestling history. Minus the Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, the Allstate Arena, Chicago had his history. So Ole Anderson went to the Jim Crockett Promotions from 1968 to 1970. He was presented as the brother of Gene Anderson and Lars Anderson, billed as the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, the trio, in a series of 6-man tag team matches. And eventually he was a regular in Jim Crockett Promotions up to September of 1970. Then he went back to the AWA from 1970 to 1971 to go for the AWA Midwest Tag Team Champions. Championship Wrestling from Florida, another territory that was just popular back in the day, from 1971 to 1972, where he formed a tag team with Ronnie Garvin, right? With the duo winning the vacant NWA Florida Tag Team Champions. Then went back to the Jim Crockett Promotions from 1972 to 1984. And then that's where he got really busy, right? The Andersons, right? The Andersons went on to face Mr. Wrestling and Mr. Wrestling 2. Wahoo McDaniels, right? Who else we got? Jack Briscoe, Jerry Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Tommy Rich, Johnny Weaver, Dino Bravo. Just, man. Paul Jones, Ric Flair, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Rufus R. Jones, the Mongols, and the Thunderbolt Patterson. Talk about another name right there. But man, what a time for Ole to be wrestling. And eventually he went to Championship Wrestling from Georgia from 1984 to 1985. And then that's where he transitioned to back to Jim Crockett Promotions. And you know, when Jim Crockett Promotions you know, transform into World Championship Wrestling, right? Under the Jim Herd era, which a lot of guys not a big fan of his, right? So he went on to WCW, right? And eventually he tag team with Lex Luger back in 1988, of course. And obviously the Four Horsemen, right? That's the iconic, you know, the iconic group of pro wrestling, right? You know, Flair, Arn, Barry Windham, Sid Vicious. So come on, the Four Horsemen is the key staple when it comes to stables and pro wrestling history that every fan should know and need to learn and go back and watch the matches. I mean, it's out there on YouTube, the WWE Network. It's out there, man. And eventually he did some booking, right? Backstage booking, I believe for WCW, part of the booking committee back in the day. So, and eventually he had his retirement, back starting 96. So, Ole Anderson, man, rest in peace. We love you. We miss you. To all the fans who are big fans of Ole Anderson, of his family, send our condolences as always. And man, what a tough week to hear the news of Ole passing away. And rest in peace, Ole. We will miss you. Okay, so we got Ole Anderson. Just not a good week. Not a good week to start off. And then on February 28th, a couple days later, fans know this guy is Michael Jones. Mike Jones, but you know him as Virgil, right? I love Virgil. He passed away February 28th, 2024, age 72 in Pennsylvania. And everybody knows his history, right? With Ted DiBiase, him joining the NWO, and I mean the rookie years from 1985 to 1987. He was if you were watching wrestling at that point, he was Soul Train Jones in Championship Wrestling Association. I forgot about that. Based in Memphis, Tennessee, right? And that's where he had a feud fight against Chick Donovan and Big Bubba Rogers. And if you know him, just another iconic wrestler, of course. And then obviously, for the AEW International Heavyweight Championship, he also went for the AWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, defeating Tommy Rich, the Hunter, and Goliath. He also will unsuccessfully challenge Nick Bockwinkel for the AWA World Heavyweight Champion, of course. And eventually Virgil went to the WWF, right? The iconic WWF back in 1986 and all up to 1984. He was the bodyguard of Ted DiBiase from 1987 and 1991, of course. So, I mean, just iconic, right? Iconic. Oh, man, it's such a shame. Such a shame that we lost two iconic superstars in 1 week. And no, it just gets worse. It gets worse. February 29th of 2024, the day after, Paul Butcher Vachon, a member of the legendary Vachon family, wrestling family, has passed away. Vachon, 86, died on February 29th. He was both a wrestler and promoter during his career, which included teaming with his brother Maurice Mad Dog Vachon and promoting Grand Prix Wrestling in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But man, wow. What a week of wrestling when it comes to legends not being here. So Mad Dog no longer with us. So Virgil's no longer with us, and Ole Anderson's not with us. And as a wrestling fan, hardcore wrestling fan, and you out there, the viewers on podcasts and YouTube, maybe you were a fan of watching them back in the day, or maybe you're just finally discovering it. And I highly recommend you going back and checking out their matches. YouTube is probably the best place. The WWE Network or on Peacock, I think they have some the whole library on there. I haven't checked the old school library on there yet, but man, what a week! And rest in peace, Ole. Rest in peace, Virgil. Rest in peace, Vachon, man, because it's what a horrible week for when it comes to legendary status of pro wrestling. And these guys paved the way. What's wrestling is today. I mean, they're some of the many wrestlers that paved the way. But again, you know, if they're doing like trying to come up with words here. So if you're planning on going like a convention or an 80s convention when it comes to wrestling, go out and see them, man. Go out and support them, buy some autographs, buy some t-shirts, support the legends, man. Even the current wrestlers as well, because life is short. And I talked about this on my secondary podcast, a lesson in headbanging podcast. If you're a fan of rock and heavy metal, you know, legendary bands like my favorite, like Kiss, like these guys, yeah, they just called it quits. But how long will they be, you know, walking around this planet Earth until the day they're snatched away from us, in front of our eyes, like Uncle Ozzy Osbourne, man. We love them. And again, these guys, just like the legends, they may be superstars, they may be powerful, but they're also humans. And you know, appreciate them, Love them. Give them all the respect. And if they're out in your neck of the woods doing some autograph signings, go out and support them, man, because life is short. So rest in peace. And of course, I got some audio, right? It picks up some audio here between Virgil and we got Virgil here. And let's see, we got that. And also have Anderson as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this Ole Anderson. Now, this Ole Anderson's promo, and let me pull it up here because I jotted down here really quick. So this promo was I don't have the time frame, probably in the early 80s. And there was a promo of Ole Anderson about an upcoming bout with himself and Gene Anderson against the duo of Ric Flair and Greg the Valentine Hammer. So I think this was pre-4 Horsemen. And let me go ahead and play this clip here of Ole Anderson. So here we go. Let's crank it up.
You've taken an especially close look, because this is what you're going to look like, Rick. And Greg, you're going to look the same way when we get done with you tomorrow. Because tomorrow, if you remember, you got it marked on your calendar, Sunday, October 30th at 7:30, Gene and I are coming to that Greensboro Coliseum. And we're coming to do one thing. I should say two things. We're going to beat you, and when we get done, we're going to have you sitting in that ring. And I personally am going to cut your hair off. That's right, Rick. I know you got to be nervous. I know you got to be scared. I know you're crawling all around like a monkey in a cage, like an animal. Well, tomorrow, Rick, it's all going to come to a stop, and I'm going to make sure that everybody in that Greensboro Coliseum gets a treat, and you get a treatment. This time, we're going to be doing everything. We're going to be cutting the hair. And it's going to be your hair, Rick. Imagine how you're going to look. Oh, better take a look and see how you're going to look. Tomorrow at about 10 o'clock or so, you're going to be walking around bald. You'll be looking like Kojak. Your head down. Get ready. Hey.
You're going to be bald like Kojak. That's phenomenal, man. Just an iconic promo from Ole Anderson. And now, let's go back to another promo. This is from the WWF era. I believe this is what 1991 or probably a little more. Virgil promo on Ted DiBiase, and I believe this is where he split from Ted DiBiase. They had a nice little feud here. So let's play this clip courtesy of WWE.com.
The $1 million belt is going to be on the line as $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase meets his former bodyguard Virgil.
Hey DiBiase, I'm gonna catch the train down to Madison Square Garden. But at SummerSlam, when I beat you, man, I'm going to tip your limo driver so nicely, he's going to take me down and ride me down to Broadway, and you and Sherry going to be catching a cab.
In the singles rank.
So there we go, man. It's just such an iconic promo, man. Man, I wish, I mean, I was born in 91, okay? So I'm not an old fella or a young stallion as well, but I kind of wish I was living through that period to see this on television. But it is what it is, and you know what? Rest in peace to the three men who dedicate their life in the world of pro wrestling. So until all the fans out there, say the prayers, send the condolences to the family and friends of Virgil, Ole Anderson's family, and Butcher Vachon, man. Again, just condolences, man. Give them all the love in the world. All right, so I talk about the Greensboro Coliseum, a legendary hollow halls of pro wrestling, right? The legendary arena out in the Carolinas. Well, AEW Revolution, it's happening tomorrow night on pay-per-view. That's right. It's going to be at the same building. And the icon Sting is retiring and having his final match. We will talk about that. We will also talk about the card throughout the show, and we'll kind of track back to AEW Dynamite from this past Wednesday and include that as well. So we kind of do a little double dose here, and that's right, man. We'll talk about all this after a quick commercial break right here and into the Squared Circle podcast. All right. All right, welcome back, folks, and let's talk about AEW Revolution, which is going down live on pay-per-view tomorrow night on the pay-per-view, as I mentioned. All right, so it's going to be live at the Greensboro Coliseum. It's sold out, right? It's loaded, baby. It's to the rafters. And obviously, it's billed as Sting's final match. Man, I am sad. And you know what? I will have my own I guess tribute or a thank you to Sting episode. I'm gonna do something like that, and I'm gonna kind of dig through my man cave here and see if I can find any of my old school Sting stuff, like my WCW action figures. I got my Wolfpack Sting T-shirt with the red face on it. Well, yes, a lot of them are kind of remade now these days, like kind of like a remastered of sorts. I have the original stuff from the '90s, so I still got that, and I have to go through it, man, because Sting was a big important wrestler in my career. Sting and Undertaker. I won't lie to you guys. Sting and Taker were the two uh um guys I admired as a kid, as a fan. 10 years old, 9 years old, watching pro wrestling, watching the Attitude Era, flipping back and forth between TNT, between Nitro and was it TBS Thunder, Raw in the USA, and SmackDown used to be, at least in Chicago, was on UPN. And as a kid, remember sitting on the floor with a remote in my hand, going back and forth, back and forth. And I kind of wish I had two TVs, but watching Sting, the iconic Sting, the all time hero, the NWO, and just, man, what a time to be a wrestling fan in the '90s as well. So Sting's having his final match, final match, and we will talk about that. But let's talk about AEW Revolution. All the other matches that's gone around it. So we have a total of, as I'm looking at my list, 11 matches total, right? I'm going to put the graphic right next to me. There we go. And what we got? So yeah, 11 matches. We have so far 2 pre-shows, and who knows, maybe Tony Khan will go on Twitter and announce some more. But right now we got 2 pre-shows right now that's available to us, the view and predict, right? So are you ready? Again, if you anything you will enjoy this coming Sunday pay-per-view, drive it on the comment section. Not drive it. You could drive it, but you could drop it in the comment section. Or if you're on podcasting land, send me a DM on Facebook, X, Instagram. Into the Square Circle podcast. That's right, folks. Join the conversation. All right. So Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Woo! Chicago's very own Sky Blue versus Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale for the tag team match. I almost said tag team champions, but they don't have women's tag team champions, not just yet. But it's going to be a traditional tag team match, of course. And let's see how traditional this match will be, because both teams have been teasing each other for quite a bit the past couple of weeks, right? Julia Hart and Sky Blue's always been a duo, right? Been a duo. I like it. I like it a lot. And Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander has always been a duo. So who will win? And I don't know. Chris Statlander? I mean, I don't know. It seemed like she kind of fell flat. I don't think she's the current champion. Because Tony Storm's the current champion. No, so you know what? For the hell of it, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale. It's gonna be my pick. Because Statlander, I guess she was a former champion. Yeah, because she had 2 champions. I don't know. But that's gonna be my pick. Statlander and Willow Nightingale. All right, so we have the 12-man tag team match. Oh boy, everybody loves multi-man tag team matches, especially in AEW. Okay, so we have the Bang Scissor Gang. Matt Caster, Anthony Bowens, Billy Gunn, badass Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, Colton Gunn, Jay White versus the Last Outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, all the way from Los Angeles, California, Willie Mack, in a private party. Wow, this is a unique match. 12-man match. So you're gonna have a whopping what? 12 guys. Who's gonna win? Again, it's just a pre-show. I don't know. This match just doesn't interest me. My personal opinion. It's just another multi-man match. I'm being honest with you, right? Tell me when I'm wrong. I'm being honest with you guys here. Just another multi-man match. Just another match. I will forget this match by next week, or hell, by Monday. I'm sorry, guys. I love all these guys in the ring, but goddamn, I won't remember this. So I'm going to pick the Bang Bang Sinker Scissor Gang because I'm a fan of the Bullet Club Gold, Too Sweet, and the Acclaim. I'm a big fan of theirs. So that's going to be my pick. All right. The singles match for the AEW International Champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Next Strong, Roderick Strong. Again, another match. Are you a fan of Orange Cassidy? Don't lie to me. You're sitting there, I'm not a big fan of Orange Cassidy. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You're a big fan of Orange Cassidy. You walk around your house with your hands in your pocket. When he comes out on stage, you like to point out your little stupid finger. You know, I don't know. I mean, again, Orange Cassidy, he's got a special talent, of course. He is a great athlete, great athlete. Gimmick. Do I like the gimmick? I'm not a big fan. Again, I told you I'm a fan of The Undertaker and Sting. One of my favorites. And then Orange Cassidy. Again, nothing against Orange. He kicks his ass in the ring, or kick ass. One of the two. My American English is really bad on this episode, so bear with me. You might have to turn on Rosetta Stone, which is not sponsored on this show. All right, so Orange Cassidy, can he retain? Could Next Strong, Rudder Strong defeat Orange Cassidy? Well, I think Tony Khan's going to keep the Orange happy and keep the title around his waist. So that's going to be my pick, Orange Cassidy, for the hell of it. Okay. It's going to be an interesting match here. A three-way, baby. Who doesn't like three-ways? Keep your mind out of the gutter. I'm watching you, little dirty bastard. Samoa Joe, the current champion, versus Hangman Adam Page, the Cowboy. Yeah. Versus whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve when I drive. Okay. Don't quit your day job. Stick with the guitar. All right. So who's going to win? This is the ultimate pick, folks. Sponsored by me. You know, these stupid sponsor buys, WWE. One match to go from Credit One Bank. Or AEW, one match to go, sponsored by Blue Chew. I don't know what their sponsorship is, but seem like no. AEW has the sponsor finisher of the match or some shit like that. You know, the official sponsor of the finisher. So I need to do something like that. Hey, if anybody's watching this who want to be part of the show, you have a sponsorship? Do you have a car dealership? Just make sure it's legal, right? If it's fucking, cocaine or weed, I just keep that away from me. But you have like a business. One final segment to go, sponsored by Dick Balls Bakery. I'm just losing my mind here. All right. So by the way, I got 3 hours of sleep, so bear with me, man. That's what happens when you become a second shifter. Hey. All right. So Samoa Joe. Can he retain the world champion? Can he? Can he? Or could Hangman Adam Page, the heelish prick, could win the title? Or could AEW can make history and can Swerve Strickland become the first black AEW world champion? I'm down for that, baby. I love Swerve. He's a big high on me, no pun intended. He is phenomenal. He is a phenomenal. He is shown me he is a championship material the past couple of weeks or months, and he's incredible. Swerve Strickland is incredible. Love his gimmick. He's like this dark, sadistic, sick minding guy who just will do anything just to rip your eyeballs out to get the title. I mean, I love Swerve. He is unique. He is different. He has a unique style, right? Unique style. Obviously, he has that cruiserweight, hard-hitting style match. I mean, he can wrestle New Japan. Yeah, obviously, he was in WWE. Again, he traveled around the world. And him and Prince Nana and the embassy. I mean, he got a nice crew there. So I want Swerve Strickland to win. It's just not only because of history, but I just think could this be the moment? What a moment! A sold out crowd for Swerve Strickland to raise the title in front of. Oh man, that's just ballsy. But do you see Samoa Joe retaining? Yeah, he is the veteran, the GOAT. The big son of a tough son of a bitch, right? I'm trying to get the words here, right? But he's Samoa Joe. He is. I think he has more of an advantage out of the both of the guys because Samoa Joe's been around the block, right? He is a veteran, right? He's a big mofo and he's a dangerous mofo as well. And I think with all those ingredients in the pot, Samoa Joe, I have a good feeling he will retain. That's we might pick Samoa Joe. As much as I want Swerve, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Samoa Joe does lose it, but at some point in my heart, I think, or in my gut, my beer belly, I think Samoa Joe will retain. I could be wrong, but again, I'm a fan. You're a fan too, damn it. You're watching, you're listening. YouTube, comment section, podcast. Come on, you know where to go. Pop quiz. Where do you go if you're listening on the podcast? Don't say Tinder because I'm not on there. Facebook, X, Instagram, Into the Squared Circle podcast. All right. Feel like I'm The Rock right now. We will get to that next episode. I promise next episode we will talk about Raw and SmackDown with The Rock and the stipulation and his promo too. And we will talk about that next episode and a bunch of other stuff I kind of missed out here. All right, let's continue on with All Elite Wrestling Revolution. Okay. Timeless Toni Storm will put her AEW World Women's Championship on the line against Deonna Purrazzo, her long-time friend, Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. I think it's going to be a good match. Could they steal the show? There's a pretty good chance. Both beautiful women will steal the show. And, man, could Deonna be a champion at Revolution? Maybe. Something tells me Toni Storm has gone. Owen, she is phenomenal. Keep the momentum going. I like her whole shtick as a 1950s, 1940s black and white actress. I enjoy it. Deonna Purrazzo, she could probably have another few months with Toni Storm. Maybe go up to Double or Nothing in May. So, I think Toni Storm is going to win and retain the World Women's Championship. Okay. Woo! Match number 6. We're almost there. It could be a long pay-per-view. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. This is going to be a slobber knocker. All right, so here's the stipulation. This is going to be for Eddie Kingston's Continental Crown Champion, right? AEW Continental Champion, Ring of Honor World Champion, and New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. And if Danielson loses, he has to be a man, damn it. He's got to put his hand around his hand. He's going to put his right hand out, or left hand, and extend it, and shake the hands of Eddie Kingston like a damn man. Cheesy bastard. So, Eddie Kingston and Danielson, they've been teasing the past couple of weeks. They're not like each other, right? And Eddie Kingston want respect out of him. Danielson is showing no respect to all the legends he faced, like Jun Akiyama this past Saturday on Collision. No respect against Yuji Nagata. A lot of these veterans from New Japan, he has no respect. Who else he faced? Hechicero from CMLL. So Danielson, no respect, and he got no respect for Eddie Kingston. This match will be a slobber knocker. I will tell you, there's gonna be a lot of chops, a lot of forearms in the face, a lot of punches. It's gonna be a hard-hitting son of a bitch match. And who's gonna win? Eddie Kingston or Bryan Danielson? Now, Bryan Danielson has been teasing he is retiring. He's going to a part-time status pretty soon. So he's getting all these legendary wrestlers around the world. Could he win the big title? the big prize. That'd be a huge surprise. And but I don't know, man. I gotta say Kingston's gonna win. My personal opinion. All the hard work he did, why drop it a Revolution? Again, but then Danielson is switching to part-time. His schedule is slowing down. Maybe Tony will give him the titles and enjoy this big, massive run with the titles. But to wait and see. So that's going to be my pick, Eddie Kingston. All right. Up next, a commercial break because I need to get a drink. So let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to head off to the next match here. This is match number 7. So we're almost halfway there. You're like, dude, I got to piss. I got to take a dump. Hurry up. Well, just pause the damn thing. Go do your business. And then come back. And we'll talk about AEW Revolution. And talk about after this quick break. All right. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I will follow you wherever you go. All right, welcome back, folks. And let's continue on here. Match number 7, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. So this past Wednesday, we had I can't say debut, but I guess it debuted as a full-time wrestler for AEW. On top of Will Ospreay is now a full-time AEW wrestler. So he fulfilled his contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is done. Now he is full-time with AEW. Now he will appear whenever he shows up on television now from now on. And maybe they're teasing something here because we know Will Ospreay and Takeshita are part of the Don Callis' family, right? And, well, Don Callis was like, well, let's have our members fight each other in the match to prove that we are tough as nails as a faction. I never heard of that before, but I mean, maybe there has been, but this guy will fight this guy in my faction in a match. And who sees the toughest son of a bitch in my group? I gotta say, this is gonna be a good match, but they're teasing something here. And I could Will Ospreay break from the Don Callis family? And I wish that would happen. Let Will Ospreay become his own star. He is a star. Let him branch off as a singles wrestler and move on to the main event championship picture. That's my personal opinion. I would love to see Will Ospreay move on as a singles wrestler instead of being part of this Don Callis family. I'm not a big fan of. So, who's going to win? And it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a lot of high flying, high stakes, high rewards, high risk. I got that flopped around, but you know what I mean. Will Ospreay, he's my man. He's the goat, bruh. Hey, the way to look, bruh. I'm from Australia, bruh. I love Ospreay. I'm not making fun of his accent here, but man, I love Will Ospreay. He's one of my favorites. And that's gonna be my pick. It's gonna be my pick, hands down. Will Ospreay is gonna defeat Konosuke Takeshita. Okay, match number 8. Christian Cage. He's your father. Come on, just admit it. He's your father, damn it. In a singles match against Daniel Garcia. Oh, Jesus, that's embarrassing doing the dance. Well, I don't nothing against Daniel Garcia. He is great. But can he defeat Christian Cage? Can he? Nah, I doubt that. And I think Christian Cage is gone to retain and maybe lead something against Adam Copeland, aka Edge, in the near future. So I don't know. Daniel Garcia is great. He's a great wrestler, but do you see him as a TNT champion in the future? Nah, not really. And you know what? I'm gonna pick Christian Cage to retain the title. It's gonna be my pick. All right, folks, almost there. 3 matches to go. There's the camera. 3 matches to go. Sponsored by GSJMultimediaproductions.com. See, I told you there's a sponsorship. Yeah, that's my company, right? My brand. If you need podcasting done, you need video done, whatever you want done. GSJmultimedia.com. Maybe you want to start your own podcast. Maybe you want to do some voiceovers for your project of some sorts. I'm your guy. Send me a DM. GSJmultimedia.com. Check me out on there right now, or send me through a DM or here on YouTube or Twitter, Twitch, one of the many social medias. You should know them by now, right? It should be in the back of your brains. Okay, let's move on here. Number 9, match number 9, FTR versus the Blackpool Combat Club. Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Well, you're in FTR country. I'm an FTR fan. They're my pick. That's it. I'm not going to give you a breakdown who will win, who will not. FTR, these are my boys. One of my favorite tag team wrestlers, tag teams in the past 10, 15 years. FTR, I love these guys. Just great tag team, old school tag team wrestling. They're going to be in the Greensboro Coliseum to create their own memories. And what a place to have it. And these guys are going to burn the house down. Will Jon Moxley bleed? How about that? Here's something to debate. Will he bleed in the match? Maybe. Will they scream the Riccolo bomb when Claudio Castagnoli does his finishing move? Remember Kevin Kelly was saying in Collision, oh, he's doing the Riccolo bomb. No, it's not the Riccolo bomb, Kelly. It's the Ricola bomb. You know, the Ricola, you know, the breath, the cough drops, you put, whatever. Anyway, so I don't know. FTR, come on. Shatter Machine, Dream Machine was the finishing move. Big rig. Man, these great tag team, man. They know how to split the ring in half. I'm a fan of FTR. Hands down, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Just their chemistry. Not like Jon Moxley and Claudio don't have chemistry, but FTR has their tag team extraordinaire, right? Their resume is stacked. Wrestle around the whole world. So that's going to be my pick, FTR. Okay. Up next, the All-Star Scramble match. Now, this match confused people this past Wednesday on Dynamite. It was supposed to be a meat fest. You're looking at me like, gee, what did he just say? Yeah, Tony Khan has promoted a match called Meat Fest. No, there's not going to be, well, let's not go that direction. There's not going to be hamburger meat. It's not going to be sausages, a sausage fest. I have to say it. I'm sorry. Roast beef. Oh, fuck, this is getting worse. No, it's not that kind of sausage party. You watch that movie? Horrible. Meat Fest. It's not going to be that kind of meat. It's not like Seafood Fest at Red Lobster or Pasta Fest or Olive Garden. It was supposed to be a match between Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Lance Archer. That's why they called it Meat Fest, right? Everybody was chanting meat at All Out when I was in Chicago between Hobbs versus Miro. And I guess this match turned into an all-star scramble match. Jericho versus Wardlow versus Hobbs versus Archer versus Hook versus Brian Cage versus Magnus versus Dante Martin. The winner will receive a future world championship match. Well, after seeing this promo from Wardlow 2 weeks ago, how pissed off he was, you might get a Wardlow win this match. So Wardlow versus Samoa Joe. Wardlow versus Hangman Adam Page, possibly. Wardlow versus Swerve Strickland. A lot of possibilities, a lot of questions for this coming Sunday on pay-per-view for AEW Revolution. Well, I'm going to pick Wardlow. You know, Chris Jericho was the first ever champion, so I keep that. Powerhouse Hobbs, hey, maybe go for the TNT champion. Hook, he is the current FTW champion. Brian Cage, he's I guess you can give him a future title shot, but I'm going to stick with Wardlow. It's going to be my pick. Here we go. The final match for the final time for the Icon Sting. Here we go. This is it. The final match. And will I cry? Yes, I am. I won't lie to you. I told you I'm a big Sting fan since the 90s. So, again, there's fans out there like you watching. It's been a fan since the 80s, right? Surfer Sting, the blonde Surfer Sting. And I mean, the Wolfpack Sting, you know, the eras that I watched as well. And I'm going to have my own tribute episode in a couple days. I'll try to compile all my Sting merch, have in my closet here. And let's talk about it, man. This match is going to be a tornado tag team match. I'm not a big fan of tornado tag team matches because we get them every week. Tornado tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Champion. So the current champion, Sting, with his tag team partner, Darby Allin. It will face the EVPs of the Young Bucks. Boo! Go away, Heat. Okay, so let's discuss this one. This is worth the discussion. But before we get to that, right, I have to share this audio with you guys. It was a special moment. A special moment this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Now, if you're not an AEW fan, maybe you don't watch AEW television program, and that's okay. Not everyone does. Not a lot of AEW fans like or watch WWE program. You know, it's wrestling, right? Wrestling fans is wrestling fans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this audio courtesy AEW.com. It was a special moment. And this one kind of surprised a lot of people, including myself. And it popped me. It popped me as a fan. Again, childhood memories. I'll play this clip and let's just figure it out here. We'll discuss after it plays. Here we go.
Oh my God, look at this! Sting! And he's not walking into a trap! My God! Look at this! The Young Bucks have no clue! And now the realization sets in! In the words of good old JR, business just picked up! Oh, what memories have been coming down, repelling from the top.
So there we go, man. A special moment, iconic moment. Sting came down from the rafters, the iconic Stinger from the rafters. Wow, what a moment. And by the way, let's talk about Dynamite when it came to Sting and the Young Bucks. So they were playing a lot of nostalgic memories throughout the show on Dynamite, right? So if you watched it, right, you know, the Young Bucks started off the show arriving to the arena with bats in their hands. All right, where's Sting at? We're going to go find him. Sting, where are you? So throughout the show, they've been doing that. You know, they interrupted Eddie Kingston's promo. Hey, man, you know, hey, we're looking for Sting. Where's he at? Eventually, they went into the locker room, Sting, and they opened it up and they walked inside. And if you noticed in that segment, they had bats hanging from the ceilings, white bats. And I didn't realize that this was a homage to the final WCW Nitro where Sting had his final match until he showed up in TNA a couple years later. And remember, Sting refused to go to the WWE. A lot of the WCW guys went to WWE, right? And some of them got misused. Again, it was like enemy territories. You got WCW guys going into the WWE locker room with Stone Cold, Rock, the Attitude Era guys. That's, I mean, it was a unique era, right? And WCW, they weren't loved during that period of time in WWE. But Sting was smart. Sting stayed away from pro wrestling until he showed up in TNA. First time in the ring in a long time. So Sting had a nice little, you know, a tribute to the final Nitro of WCW where they had the bats on the ceilings. And they brought it back as a nostalgic for his final appearance on Dynamite on TNT, which is incredible. Nitro was on TNT in 2000, so it's a bittersweet a way to exit. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. Well played out. I thought it was great. It was great. Now, when the Young Bucks came out, they came out and they were there. They wanted Sting, right? They wanted Sting. They were looking for him. And if you've been watching Sting's career, he's been doing it for a long time. You see memes out there where Sting will be in the crowd with his own mask, like you know how fans can buy the Sting's mask at the merch stand, and you see him in the front row with the mask. Sting will kind of blend in with the mask. He is notorious for wearing his own mask and fooling his opponents. Sneak attack. And when the Young Bucks came down to the front row, there was a bunch of people with Sting's match, kids with Sting's match, adults with Sting's match. And one of the Young Bucks had the bats in their hand and they flip the face mask. And they're like, that's great. Where can you find Sting? He's normally at. And they went straight to the front row with all the people with the mask on. And they start flipping the mask. And eventually one mask came off by hand. And it was Darby Allin. It was behind the mask. Jumped over the guardrail and attacked the Young Bucks. But again, it's 2-on-1. So the favor is the Young Bucks are going to get violent. And they got violent with Darby. So Sting, like, where's he at? He got to be coming out soon. Eventually, Ric Flair came out. Woo! Ric Flair. Now, last Wednesday on Dynamite, I talked about Ric Flair went to the Young Bucks locker room. And that was it. We never heard anything after that. And my impression thought maybe Ric Flair will join forces with the Young Bucks. Maybe he'll double cross Sting. Maybe. Well, Ric Flair came out, and when Darby was about to get his head caved in by a steel chair by the Young Bucks, and Ric Flair comes out, and the Young Bucks hands Ric Flair the chair, and like, go ahead, man. You're the dirtiest player in the game. Smash Darby Allin's head in. Well, I guess Ric Flair decided to poke one of the Young Bucks in the eyes and started doing punches with the other Young Bucks. And Ric Flair's trying to go old school Ric Flair in the ring at age, 70? And he got his ass jumped and pushed by the Young Bucks, getting a lot of heat. Now the fans are wanting to know, where is Sting? So the Young Bucks came out of the ring. They walked up the ramp with the bats, and they're like, come on, Sting. And they're waiting for him to come out the entrance, so they just start beating the crap out of him. Next thing you know, the camera looks up, and here comes Sting coming down the rafters. I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is, what a moment. Coming down the rafters, old school Sting. What a moment. What a moment. And they unhooked him, and he went to war, baby, taking out the Young Bucks. Nice little teaser this coming Sunday. And by the way, I heard Tony Khan, had a conversation with Martha Hurt. Martha Hurt has a nice relationship with AEW when it comes to the Hart tournament. And he had permission with her to, if it was okay for Sting to do it. And she had the blessings. Yeah, come on. Again, history wrestling. Owen Hart, rest in peace. Tragically passed away from, coming from the rafters on the, in the harness that got let go and got killed in the ring. And one of the just horrible tragedies in pro wrestling history, one of the many. And it's kind of tough to talk about, just going back on it. And Dark Side of the Ring kind of touched it, which is always a good job. And I can't wait for Dark Side of the Ring, the next season coming up in next week. So I'll watch it and I'll love the review with you guys. But, Sting coming out the rafters one more time. Great nostalgic moment. I enjoyed it as a fan. Now let's get back to the pay-per-view this coming Sunday. Who's going to win? And now if Sting and Darby wins, Sting can't take the title home. I mean, he can if he wants to, but he's retiring, right? His final match. Sting cannot lose at Greensboro Coliseum. Sting will not lose. The sold out crowd came to see him. Boy, oh boy, they're going to set the seats on fire. They're going to have pitchforks. They're going to chase the Young Bucks out of the arena. Chase their asses back to Rancho Cucamonga, California. So the Young Bucks win. Holy hell, what a heat maker. I don't think they're going to be welcome back to Greensboro. They're going to need a police escort. So Sting got to win. But question is, either Darby's going to have a replacement from the blessing of Sting, or could they vacate the tag team titles and have a tournament, which that's a possibility because Tony Khan loved having tournaments, or scramble tornado tag mixed match. So it could be that option. Now, could the Young Bucks win? Again, that could be a possibility. I want Sting to win. Final match. I love Sting. I'm a big Sting's fan. Forever grateful to see him live plenty of times. And there you go. My screen went out. I promise you, Sting will not show up in my basement. Okay. Oh, there we go. So there we go. Now we're back on. Here we go. You thought my screen went black? You thought Sting's going to show up from my rafters. All right. So you know what? Let's get for real here. You know what? Sting's going to be my pick. Sting and Darby Allin's going to win. How things going to shape out for the tag team titles, I'm not sure. And we'll have to wait and see next Wednesday on what changes could happen. But in the meantime, I want Sting to win. That's going to be my pick because he has to be that way. Unless Sting elects to lose on his final match, like a lot of wrestlers do. A lot of wrestlers love to lose on a final match, leaving a promotion or quitting, right? You know, with Shawn Michaels and Flair at WrestleMania, right? It's just going to be a great match. I saw Sting put a statement out, you know, better watch out in this match because it could be a lot of great moments. You're going to remember it forever. So I'm excited. You know what I'm most excited for is the entrances. AEW, when they make special moments, they do a good job making entrances. You know how they did it with Jericho? Have you seen it back in the past with Jericho? They had like 3 or 4 different variations of Jericho on this entrance. You know, they had the Mexico version of Jericho. They had the Y2J with Jericho. They had the list Jericho. Like they didn't specify it, but they had like a shadow of each version of Jericho. Yeah, just to pay the respect of history. Just like CM Punk when he went back to his old school Ring of Honor days when CM Punk was in AEW. And I can't wait to see what the entrance is going to be for Sting. I know it's going to be special. And I'm pretty excited. I mean, I can feel the goosebumps and chilling down my spine right now how it's going to be. It's going to be special. I will be watching it. I hope you will be watching as well. All right, folks, that's it. Let's wrap up the show. Is any matches or the Sting's final matches? What's your predictions? Drop it in the YouTube section or podcast land. Again, as I mentioned, Facebook, X, Instagram. Send me a DM. Of course, I'll release a poll on X. Make your voices heard. All right, folks, until next time, a couple episodes I'm going to pump out. We're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown up next, and then I'll have post Revolution episode coming up as well. So until next time, my friends, happy wrestling. Watch AEW Revolution on pay-per-view, and we'll talk about a post Revolution episode, hopefully within a couple hours or so. So until next time, my friends, stay heavy and happy wrestling. Bye-bye, everybody.